A lot of workers in the U.S., nearly 70%, are immigrants. Take them away and the economy would tank. When they join the workforce, they earn a paycheck and spend it on goods and services. That expands the economy. Unauthorized workers have $500 billion a year in economic output.
Welcome to Frustrated Millennial. Here we dive into the pressing issues that shape our world, tackling topics that may be uncomfortable but are crucial to understand.
25% of Canadians are living in poverty.
Our goal is to spark thoughtful conversations and raise awareness about the challenges we face today. Join us as we explore and discuss the truths that matter most.
That 9 years ago, the average rent for a one-bedroom was $973. Now it's $2,000.
Immigration, when in moderation, is a powerful policy for any country for economic development and growth.
Immigrants are good for the economy and our society.
But what happens when things go out of control and the floodgates are open?
The supply side of the housing market just simply cannot produce the amount of units to meet this level of demand. And the valve for all of this is higher house prices and higher rents.
Economists say newcomers are filling gaps in the labor market, and the housing crunch should be seen as a growing pain.
This is the current and burning situation in Canada, which transformed the Canadian dreams and lifestyle into a complete nightmare. Now you might be wondering how. Does that mean immigration has a negative impact on society? Well, some analysts and statistics would say yes.
Immigration, you better be smart and you better be tough, and they're taking your jobs and you better be careful.
Why would you want to bring people who are immediately dependent on welfare when they get here? Don't you want people who add something immediately to your country?
What I would suggest they do is that they go back to their home country, get in line with the hundreds of thousands of people from their home country who are trying to do it legally.
You should not import people numerous enough to influence your society, change its laws, and destroy your culture.
Well, you can still counter them using different logic, but you cannot deny the problem that Canada is facing right now. Immigration. So let's discuss the hidden consequences of it and see how deeply it affects a country, which anyone barely talks about.
The United Nations defines immigrants as anyone living in a country other than where they were born.
As of March 2024, there are 51.6 million immigrants in the US, making up 15.6% of the total US population. That's roughly the same as the combined populations of Australia, Switzerland, and Ecuador. Since 1965, the immigration rate has been rising, aiming for the all-time high. And now, the situation is already worse than ever. But look, it doesn't mean we are denying the plus points of immigration or spreading any biased ideas here. We agree that immigrants contribute to the workforce and boost the economy by spending on housing, food, and other goods. In the US, since 2011, 2/3 of economic growth indeed happened due to migration, because immigrants usually start with lower wages, and as new technology is introduced, wages tend to rise and stabilize over time. While lower-skilled immigrants often take manual jobs, highly educated ones work in technical fields, which allows native workers to move into better and high-paying roles. That way, immigrants fill labor gaps, offer diverse skills, and boost demand for products and services. Many times, they also start businesses which create new jobs and support local economies. Because it's an undeniable fact that 30% of all current businesses in the US were started by immigrants. If you don't believe me, Elon Musk, Larry Page, or Jeff Bezos, they are all first or second generation immigrants. In fact, US is a country built by the immigrants. So, apparently, immigration looks quite beneficial for the economy in the long run, isn't it? However, that only explains one side of the coin, and the other side remains mostly overlooked. As the famous British author Douglas Murray explained in Oxford that immigration may not be the problem, but its extreme level is definitely a big issue, because immigration may offer some economic benefits, but it also puts additional strain on the economy.
5 million illegal aliens are on the verge of replacing you, replacing your job.
Let me break it down for you. A sudden influx of immigrants can put immense pressure on public resources and social services, like healthcare, education, and welfare systems. This increased demand often leads to higher government spending and, consequently, higher taxes for everyone. And that is exactly what is happening in Canada right now.
We are here today because Canada is broken.
Canada has always been a prime choice for immigrants for years. But since mid-2022 or post-COVID, Canada experienced a sudden increase in immigration, mainly from countries like India, Philippines, China, and Nigeria. As a result, on April 16th, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau finally announced increasing taxes for the richest Canadians in the federal budget.
That we are raising taxes by $3 billion on the wealthiest 1% of Canadians is so that we can cut them by $3 billion for middle-class Canadians.
Meanwhile, as more and more people use services like healthcare and education, the demand will keep going higher than what's available, and that would lead to longer processing times and wait times for everything. If you don't believe me, you can check out the waiting lines in emergency rooms at any hospital in Canada or ask a Canadian. Situation is so much worse that finding a family doctor seems like an impossible task. Walk-in clinics are not allowing patients. Appointments with specialists take longer than 4 months, and the list goes on and on. In the long run, this makes the matter only worse. I'll show you how. Suppose in the free public healthcare system in Canada, each doctor can only see a limited number of patients. But when a doctor's schedule is full, people may have to find another doctor who is accepting new patients. Now, public clinic doctors usually work 8-hour shifts, which makes it difficult to check up everyone on the same day. Plus, these clinics prioritize urgent cases and treat illnesses rather than offering routine checkups. While medical care is free in the public system, some individuals choose private clinics to avoid long queues. So, what will happen then? To see the high demand, private clinics will become expensive. The doctors will also start focusing more on private clinics for more money. As a result, the quality of treatment in free public clinics will suffer. So either you have to choose the free healthcare with questionable treatment facilities, or you have to afford high expenses of treatment in private clinics. If you are a Canadian, maybe you've already started facing these issues there, right? Please let us know in the comment section. And it's not only the case of healthcare, the schooling and education system is also suffering. If a city sees a large, sudden influx of people moving into the neighborhood, its local schools will become overcrowded in no time. As a result, this will lead to issues like fewer resources, like books, computers, lab equipment, gyms, etc. Teachers also won't be able to take care of each student meticulously, which will degrade the quality of education. In extreme cases, it might even lead to split shifts, where students attend classes at different times of the day. See, you already hate it, don't you? But there's more. Immigration also creates a huge labor market pressure, wage gap, destroying the job market completely. Just imagine a small town with 10 jobs and 20 people who need work. If 10 more people move into the town and also start looking for jobs, the employers now have 30 people to choose from for those same 10 positions. So this extra competition means employers have more choices and might offer lower wages now, because they don't need to pay as much to attract workers. Not only that, but this increased number of job seekers will also lead to higher unemployment rates. Because due to immigration, the number of people rises faster, while the number of job roles is either fixed or growing slow. To worsen the matter, the AIs are now taking over the jobs, cutting a lot of positions. Naturally, both new immigrants and local residents might find it more difficult to secure employment. Plus, this problem also hits the housing market badly. You see, the number of houses and apartments in a city remains the same. But if a city suddenly becomes overcrowded, there are more buyers and renters competing for the same houses and apartments, which means demand is higher while the supply is limited. Naturally, the prices for these properties will soar up. Studies show 80% of the millennials will never be able to purchase a home in their lifetime, and that is just heartbreaking. We will be making a video on housing market shortly. Do subscribe our channel to check that out. Now, as you know, there aren't enough homes to accommodate everyone. People might end up living in smaller spaces, or might share rooms with others. which leaves them more vulnerable to exploitation by douchey landlords. Definitely, it compromises hygiene, happiness factor, and freedom. Recent statistics indicates a trend of Ontario residents moving to other cities for more affordable housing and higher wages. Major urban centers in Canada, such as Toronto, have also experienced substantial growth and increased living costs. According to Bloomberg, nearly 100,000 individuals left Toronto, with 78% opting for less expensive regions in search of improved economic prospects. The combined population of Canadian citizens, documented immigrants, and most importantly, undocumented immigrants has become so high that the place has become oversaturated, and as a result, overexpensive. In Toronto, the median rent for a one-bedroom apartment reached $2,620 now, rising by 31% annually, almost matching half the average monthly salary of $5,400. So if you have to pay half of your salary only for housing, isn't it a big issue? And in addition to that, the infrastructural problems, which is another major con of immigration, are also becoming extremely evident there. A good example is Peel Region in Canada, which consists of Mississauga and Brampton. Both cities have seen a significant influx of immigrants in recent years. As a result, it puts significant pressure on the local infrastructure. For example, when a city becomes crowded with 2 or 3 times more people, the roads that were once sufficient for the original population will also become heavily congested. This will lead to increased traffic jams, making commutes longer and more frustrating for everyone, because there will be overcrowded buses and trains, longer wait times at bus stops or train stations, and delays in the schedule. And even with the increased amount of public transport, another crucial problem will arise: pollution. Yes, the environment also takes a huge toll due to immigration, but perhaps it's the least talked about part of all. As populations grow, the more cars hit the roads, more factories start operating, and overall energy consumption rises. As a result, the combined exhaust fumes keep degrading air quality. And this is not just a hypothesis. The world's most populous national capital city, Beijing from China, has really faced this problem. Simply because of its rapid population growth and urbanization, the city frequently suffers from high levels of smog, creating a hazardous environment to live in. Plus, hope you remember what happened in China in 2010. It had the longest traffic jam ever, lasting 12 days, which stretched over 100 kilometers on Highway 110, connecting Beijing to Qingtangxia. And it's not only transport. Take any important infrastructure system like water and sewage. Those will also face challenges, because with the growing population, the demand for water increases, putting extra strain on water supply systems. In such cases, lower water pressure or frequent pipe bursts are pretty common. Or it can be even worse: water shortages. Take a look at Mexico City. An extremely high population density has caused a severe water crisis there due to the over-extraction of groundwater. And the same applies to the sewage systems too, which may struggle to handle the higher volume, leading to more frequent backups and overflows, ruining the neighborhood and its hygiene. So, are you also experiencing these issues in your country? Have you noticed the rise in unemployment, longer queues, or housing crisis there? Tell us in the comments below. If you are interested in such videos, please do like, share, and subscribe. We make videos which might be uncomfortable or controversial, but are important, and no one is willing to talk about them.